Okay, so I had the great idea of since I'm in quarantine and I don't have anything better to do, I get to talk about my calculus experience. So, to give kind of a recap on my my high school, math experience, it was actually really tame. It was really boring. My freshman year, I took regular algebra one. My my sophomore year, I took regular geometry, and my junior year, I took regular algebra two. Uh, and so the next year, my senior year, I took AP Calculus AB, and you might say that's a quite a leap there, and it is. um, so I that wasn't just it though. Uh, so I did actually really like math. I was just really lazy, and I didn't want to do any extra work. Uh, so that isn't very good for me. Um, but in my junior year, alongside algebra two, I did actually take college algebra, which is like nothing new at all. I think there's like two things you learn that's actually kind of new in college algebra. So it's just algebra two. That's really all it is. And and that's just kind of catching up to my senior year, and kind of my reasoning behind taking calculus was well, first up, so at the end of my junior year, I'm talking with my guidance counselor about what I want to take next year, and she I ask about calculus, and she says, "No, you just took algebra two. That's not a good option. You don't know nearly enough to take AP calculus," which is like very understandable. So I said, okay, sign me up for pre-calc. And along with that, since I haven't had an AP class yet, I decided, hey, can you sign me up for AP Physics? And she said, sure, but like it was a weird thing going on at the time, where there was like no demand for AP Physics and AP Chem, so they just it was basically they took all the students who wanted to take AP Chem and AP Physics, and actually even like later on, it even included the honors Chem and honors Physics students, and just they put them all in one class. Though it wasn't it, I say class in air quotes. It was really just an hour and a half long study hall. Just a teacher was looking over us while we were working on our online classes, which was physics and chem. Um, so I was like, okay, cool. I'll take AP physics next year, and I'll take pre-calc, AP physics being online. And so come to next year, I how should I start this? I'll start with physics. So immediately there was a problem because I was like the only one in the class that was taking an AP course. So or at least AP Phys, AP Chem, and so I had to go to a completely different website to get different school. Like it was for the virtual school, and everyone else had to go to like the county school, online school, whatever. Um, so I was like, oh, okay, and I went there, and what do you know? There was no AP Physics. So I was like, dang, that sucks. I don't really know what to do about this. So then, uh, come the next day when I'm actually, taking pre-calc, it's my first day, and our, first day of actual, classwork, and it was really, really boring. Because all it was oh, hey, this graph here is x squared. This graph is x squared plus 1. This graph is x plus 1 squared. It was really, really boring. It was like, and we had like an entire packet filled with, oh, this is what happens when, do you know how to graph linear functions? It was stupid, to me at the time. So it was like, screw this. And, I wanted to do something about it. And so, at the time, because I was taking dual enrollment, as seen by the college algebra, and like trig was available, but it it was at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I have high school classes at that time, and I didn't want to get rid of them, so I just said nah, I won't take trig. I did take stats that second semester, but stats is another story. So, um, using these two things, and I forgot to mention that I obviously had to search for another class to keep my 7 class meta, uh, and AP Calc was one of those classes. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll take AP Calc. Uh, so I go to my guidance counselor and I'm like, okay, I want to drop pre-calc and I want to take AP Calc. And she's like, oh, I don't know about that. And I go, but I want to. And she goes, this was actually the previous year, but she goes, I forgot exactly how it goes, but she goes, I forgot exactly, but it's like, oh, since you only took algebra, you're not going to be knowledgeable enough to take calculus, and that kind of brewed for me over the summer, and I was kind of upset about that. Over the summer, I actually did because I wanted to prepare for AP Physics, because I just assumed I was taking it, and and so I started watching physics videos, and from like Professor Dave Explains and whatnot. Great channel, by the way. And so I get into a few videos of physics, and it's mentioned, oh, by the way, physics has a lot of calculus in it. So if you're unfamiliar with calculus, you might want to look into it a bit. So I was like, oh, well, okay. I guess I'll look into some calculus. So I watched just kind of a brief overview of calculus, just the basic stuff. And well, it's like in the middle of that, it was mentioned, oh, by the way, trig functions are really, really useful in calc. If you don't know that your trig functions, you might want to go do that. So I was like, oh, okay. So I had to look through an overview of trig, and with all that in mind, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to take physics. And I can't find it here, but I actually have like 40 plus pages of notes just on physics. Just all this stuff from kinematics to angular motion to Schrodinger's equation. I wrote it all down. I was ready to do this. And then, of course, I didn't get AP Physics. So, fast forward to to senior year, and I'm like, I want to take AP Calc. And, with the colleges, it's like, like there's requirements before you can take another class. You have to take, if you want to take calc, you have to take, trigonometry, and if you want to take trigonometry, you have to take college algebra. And with the high school, there aren't any requirements because everything past geometry is an elective. So there's no requirements for anything. So I just got to drop pre-calc and take AP calculus. And I realized I probably shouldn't have dropped pre-calculus. I really, really underestimated how useful like the unit circle is and trig functions. I actually do remember in the trigonometry section of my algebra 2 class. I was absent on the day that everyone got unit circles. Like it was like a little cheat sheet and whatnot. And I think the next day we had a test, and so the teacher looks over me while we're doing the test and goes, "You got your unit circle?" And I just kind of look at him and go, "No." And he goes, "Oh, okay." Pretty sure I still got a 90 on that test. It wasn't a difficult test. Wow, Algebra 2 is another topic because it was a fun class, but literally everyone at that school would disagree because the teacher. But another video. So yeah, that was that was the beginning of calculus, and after that it was pretty smooth sailing. Well, actually, I should probably mention something kind of funny was so how Florida Virtual is like set up is basically you watch a few videos, you do some practice problems, and you do the quiz, and then you do that for every single topic. So like like the first video, like one of the first things it talks about when introducing calculus is like it says I forgot exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of what a lot of calculus students get wrong is they go into it and they watch a bunch of calculus videos, and then they think they know all about calculus, and then they get into it and then they're stumped, and this is the wrong play. And I was like, oh, I see the predicament I got myself in. And at that point I couldn't back down. I couldn't drop calculus knowing that I would prove my guidance counselor is correct. So I was like, you know what, I'm keeping this. I gotta be in the class. It was fine. It was a fine class from there. There were a couple things I struggled with. I would occasionally have to look online a bit for some guides. You didn't hear that from me. Uh, but that's about it, really. Just I just wanted to sit down and talk about my calculus experience. Maybe I can sit down and talk about something else soon enough. Who knows? Let me know if you want to, see more of these. A little, I guess, podcasts, if you will, story times. With that, yeah.